Dionysus, also venerated as Bacchus, embodied wine, jubilation, and ecstasy and was the custodian of the theater and the arts of the vine. Hera, the goddess wife of Zeus, blinded by anger upon discovering another infidelity of her husband with the mortal Semele, devised a devious plan. Transformed into an old woman, she manipulated Semele into demanding that Zeus show his true divine essence, proof of his devotion. Deceived, Semele requested Zeus to reveal himself, an act that her mortality could not withstand and led to her death. Zeus, faced with tragedy, extracted her unborn son from Semele and implanted him in her thigh, where Dionysus was gestated until his birth. Meanwhile, Hera, consumed by the desire for revenge, awaited the moment to attack Zeus' new heir. To protect his offspring, Zeus gave Dionysus to Semele's sister Ino and her husband Adamante, who would become his adoptive parents. Thus, Dionysus grew up far from the wrath of Hera, hidden in the safety of a mortal home, oblivious for now to the machinations of the gods on Olympus. Ino and Adamante welcomed the young god Dionysus into their home, ignoring the storm looming over them. Hera, the queen of the gods, burned with rage upon learning of the refuge of Zeus' son with a mortal. Blinded by jealousy, she unleashed a devastating madness on the couple. Ino, the motherly and sweet, was plunged into delirium and arcane languages. At the same time, Adamante, once tender and understanding, was lost in an abyss of rage and madness. Chaos was unleashed in his home, but in a timely rescue, Hermes, the divine messenger, rescued Dionysus from certain death at the hands of his protectors, alienated to homicide by Hera's sorcery. With cunning and stealth, Hermes fulfilled the will of Zeus, hiding the child among nymphs in a secret place, far from the fury and vengeful machinations of Hera. Fate took Dionysus, already in his youth, to the places of the valley of Nyssa, where the satyrs, beings of festivity and music, found him. Among them, Silenus, the aged and learned satyr, felt an immediate connection with the boy of divine aura. Under his tutelage, Dionysus flourished, learning from nature and life, forging a bond that would unite them on a journey of discovery and teachings, until the young god embraced his legacy, becoming the epitome of joy and freedom, with Silenus, the nymphs and nature as his eternal courtship. The god of wine, Dionysus, with a staff of ivy and accompanied by a court of ecstatic followers, set out on a journey to share with mankind the secrets of his cult. His chariot, the Taiso, was a mobile work of art, festooned with green vines and bunches of grapes glistening in the sun, pulled not by horses but by piercingly gazing panthers that stamped a wild rhythm on the retinue. As they passed, the music of flutes and drums fed the jubilation while nymphs, satyrs, and maenads danced in a frenzy of perpetual youth. On his odyssey, Dionysus traversed landscapes from icy peaks to sunny beaches, teaching the joy of wine and its ecstatic worship. But his luck took a turn when Hera, filled with jealousy, plunged him into an abyss of madness, causing him to wander, lost and forgetful. His odyssey became a meaningless pilgrimage, distancing him from his roots, until Cybele, the earth goddess, moved, took him in, giving him back his essence and joy. Restored and filled with a new purpose, Dionysus resumed his mission with greater fervor. With compassion, he looked at the mortals, burdened with toil, and longed to bring them the consolation of wine, that drink hitherto unknown to them, capable of transforming fatigue into celebration. He was determined to teach them not only the exultant joy of wine, with its flavors that sing on the palate and its capacity to liberate the spirit, but also to respect their divine gift with awareness and care. The god descended to the world of mortals, choosing a sun-drenched corner brimming with life to plant the first vines. With wisdom and gentleness, he instructed the humans in cultivating these plants, guiding them to wait for the right moment for the grapes to reach their point of ripeness, and teaching them how to harvest them without damaging their delicate flesh. Once the grapes were ready, he showed them the art of extracting their essence, crushing them, and letting the juice ferment, sharing his knowledge. At the same time, a smile remained on his lips, and a glass was always packed in his hand. The first taste of that wine was an epiphany for the villagers, who were captivated by the depth of its flavor and the warmth that spread through their veins. Like a spell cast, the wine spread rapidly, first across Greece and then beyond its seas, making Dionysus revered as the father of wine. Despite this, the god often reminded them of wine. However, a source of rejoicing could become a cause of misfortune if worshipped without restraint. When Dionysus came to Thebes, he brought with him the festive spirit of wine, but he met with stubborn resistance from Pentheus. The king, blinded by his distrust, tried to imprison the god, mistaking him for a mortal. Offended by this affront, Dionysus plotted a punishment that would be an eternal lesson for the proud monarch. He instilled a rapturous madness in the Theban women, including Agave, Pentheus' mother, who became wild Maenads, abandoning their homes and indulging in a divine frenzy. In the mountains, the Maenads unleashed their fury in uncontrolled ecstasy. At the same time, in the city, Pentheus, in despair, fell victim to his own hubris and fell under the hands of those he did not understand, marking a tragic end that would echo through eternity. The city of Thebes was marked by the wrath of the gods, tragically learning the price of their disdain. Dionysus, the god of wine, taught a brutal lesson. His gift of jubilation could quickly turn into fury and insanity. The women of Thebes, blinded by a divine delirium, were eventually released from their frenzy by the god himself, but not without heartbreaking consequences, particularly for Agave, who, upon regaining her sanity, found herself plunged into desolation over the act committed against her son. Dionysus then set sail for Naxos, a mere mortal in the eyes of others, though of unusual beauty. His voyage was interrupted by greedy pirates who, ignoring his divine essence, captured him with visions of ransom or slavery. In response, Dionysus imparts a transformative lesson rather than direct confrontation. His presence caused the ship to become entwined with vines and grapes. He transformed into a majestic lion that caused the pirates to rush into the sea, where a metamorphic fate turned them into dolphins, beings that have since maintained a unique friendship with the sailors. Finally, the god of wine arrived in Naxos, where fate introduced him to a woman of enigmatic beauty. Among vines and whispers of the sea, he found a love so deep that he longed to be united with her for eternity, leaving a trail of stories and myths that would echo through the ages. Ariadne, the splendid daughter of King Minos, found herself abandoned by Theseus on the desolate island of Naxos, her heart torn in solitude, with only the murmur of the waves for company. In that helpless refuge, fate smiled on her through the compassion of a god. Dionysus, moved by the melancholic grace of the young woman, approached her gently, inviting her to unburden her soul. Ariadne's strength and gentleness captivated the god of wine, offering her eternal love and a marriage that would heal her betrayed heart. With the pledge of loyalty that Theseus could not fulfill, Ariadne gave herself to a new beginning. The union was celebrated with divine exuberance, a whirlwind of joy that sealed their union in the annals of heaven and earth. After a life filled with love, when Ariadne closed her eyes for the last time, Dionysus, devastated, raised her nuptial crown to the heavens, creating the constellation Corona Borealis, an eternal stellar tribute to his beloved. Despite the time and his divinity, Ariadne's absence led him to seek solace in Olympus and to join Semele, his mother, in the underworld, defying the dangers of that gloomy realm. Dionysus, accompanied by the wisdom of a shepherd named Prosymno, embarked on a journey into the depths of death, uniting heaven, earth, and the underworld with the indestructible bonds of maternal love and eternal devotion. Moved by the promise of a god, the shepherd agreed to the request of a divine youth in exchange for his assistance in a sacred task. This young man, none other than the god Dionysus, pledged to grant the mortal a passionate love wish upon his return from the underworld. After fulfilling his goal, Dionysus returned his mother Semele to earthly life, and, to Hades' surprise, transformed her into the goddess Dione. He sacrificed the myrtle plant, vital in his rituals, as an offering for this concession. However, when he returns, he finds the shepherd Prosymno dead. In tribute, he eternalized him in the stars. He honored his tomb with an olive tree, symbolizing his gratitude and fulfillment of his promise. After Semele's return and the resolution of his oath, Dionysus faced the following challenge: his place on Olympus. With his father Zeus ready to welcome him into the pantheon, there was still no seat for him, and the gods, reluctant to displace one of their own, debated his fate. Discord grew, and amid this tension, a solution presented itself unexpectedly. Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, known for her serene temperament and reluctance to engage in strife, stepped forward with a proposal for Zeus, interrupting the clamor of the gods. Her offer demonstrated her conciliatory nature and offered relief to the divine family. With his gesture of peace, he paved the way for a resolution. He showed that humility and generosity can prevail over discord and pride, even in the heavenly realm. "What is your proposal?" inquired the king, visibly perplexed. With a look brimming with affection and understanding for Dionysus, Hestia offered her throne to the god of wine so that he could join the divine assembly. In return, she asked to be the custodian of the eternal fire of Olympus, that flame that had always illuminated the existence of gods and mortals. That same flame had captivated Hestia when wandering through the celestial corridors. She discovered it and realized that her true vocation was to preserve that radiance. At her unexpected offer, the gods were momentarily silent until Zeus, impressed by her altruism, honored her with the title Guardian of the Fire, exalted by her eternal chastity. Hestia fervently accepted her new role, keeping the flame alive with divine woods and pure essences. At the same time, Dionysus gratefully infused Olympus with her festive character. With his chalice overflowing, he invited gods to delight in dance and music, being the spark of joy in the celestial realm, reminding them of the duality of existence.